Hello and welcome to Gear for Music. I'm Simon Edgoose, and today we're taking a look at the DT50 triggers from Yamaha. So, triggers, what's new? We've all seen triggers before. Well, these are something slightly different. Let's take a closer look at the design. Okay, so if I just remove this one. Now, triggers are normally made of plastic or something similar, but this is a cast metal piece, so it's actually really quite weighty. And the reason for the weight is the weight helps. Because it's so weighty, it sits on the rim and it's not disturbed by vibration so much, so it gives you a much cleaner trigger. So it's really nice. It feels very, very chunky and quality in your hand. There are two designs. There's one which is a stereo trigger, which is designed for snares and toms, which is the one I've got here. And that's got a head sensor and a rim sensor. Okay. And then we've got a mono trigger, which is the bass drum. And that is slightly longer, so it can reach the head. But it's the same design, still made of metal, still nice and weighty, so it's not disrupted by vibration so much. Okay, let me just put that one on. Well, as you can see, I'm fitting them very, very quickly. They attach just to the rim, tighten up the knobs on the back, and that's it. It really is very, very simple. And then to attach to the module, it's just a stereo cable, which comes supplied in the box straight into your module. Now, I'm using the DTX-M12 here, but you could use any of Yamaha's modules, or in fact, any module. Really, really very, very simple. Now, one thing that is special about the design is, if I take it off again, you'll hear that it doesn't really affect the damping of the drum as much as a lot of other triggers. If I hit this drum in the middle, it's quite ringy. Now, if I put a lot of triggers on, it dampens the drum a lot. But this one is still ringy, still got the tone. So it doesn't kill the sound of your drum, which is very, very cool. Okay, now, plugging it in, very, very simple. Let's actually try and see how we get on with it. Let's demo the bass drum one. Now, this is just a single sensor, as I said, so there's no rim sensor on this one, just a single head sensor. And I've got it set up just to trigger a single bass drum sound, to add a little bit more weight to it, a little bit more depth. The dual trigger I've got up here has got the head and the rim, and there's really good rejection between the two, so they don't cross trigger, which is fantastic. Now, why do you need to do this? Well, let's have a look at some examples. If you're in a gigging band, if you're doing functions and stuff like this, you can make your drum sound much fatter by layering an electronic sound with your acoustic drum sound. So for instance, if I go down to this patch here, I've got a clap on the snare. So it's my usual acoustic snare sound, but with a clap from the trigger. Okay, or maybe I'm doing a lot of Motown stuff and I want to trigger some tambourine stuff. Or I suppose for Motown. Okay, or maybe I want to have a deeper snare sound. Maybe I'm doing some 70s stuff and I need a deeper snare sound. Well, I just layer it with a deeper snare sound. Very simple. Okay, and then what about the bass drum? That's just looking at the snare drum. Well, with the bass drum, we can do lots of things. We can maybe add a little bit more sub to it, a little bit more sub-bass sound. If you're doing a gig in a small place, the PA maybe can't carry the bass drum very well. So just stick a little bit of sub through, and by sub I mean something like this, and suddenly there's loads of bass in the room. Okay, or maybe a little bit more click. You want a little bit more definition. So here's a click added onto the acoustic bass drum sound. That's it. That's all there is. It's fantastic. Very, very simple. Works brilliantly with the Yamaha modules. So that's it. That's the DT50 triggers. Very simple, just 2 designs, one for smaller drums, one for bass drums. Plug into your modules, away you go. I've just covered the very basics with these triggers, but if you'd like to learn more about any other products in the Yamaha range, please visit the Gear for Music website, and thank you very much for watching.